Hello everyone, and welcome back to the next chapter of this gripping and emotionally charged love saga between CEO James and the gentle-hearted Diep. After weathering countless storms, from societal opposition to inner battles of trust, it finally seemed like they were on the cusp of peace, walking hand in hand into a future they had fought so hard to build. But just as the clouds began to part, a new storm was brewing, this time not from rivals or fate, but from someone once considered family: Tùng. In today's episode, we step into a web of lies spun with chilling precision. A betrayal is set in motion, not born out of jealousy alone, but from a calculated ambition masked as affection. At the center of this emotional ambush is an anonymous message and a staged photo that shatters James's trust in an instant. The picture seems to confirm the unthinkable, that Diep has chosen Tùng, but the truth is far darker. Diep, innocent and unsuspecting, has unknowingly become a pawn, trapped in a twisted love game orchestrated by a man who once called James his brother. Tùng, who harbored secret feelings for Diep for years, now re-emerges not as a friend, but as a strategist of heartbreak. And behind this plan? John, James' old nemesis, recently released from prison in secrecy, recruited by Tùng not for money, but for vengeance. Their target: James. From the moment Tùng decided to reclaim Diep, the loyal friend he once was ceased to exist. No longer was he the dependable comrade who had stood by James during their startup struggles. That version of Tùng, the one with noble, unspoken love, was gone. What remained was a man willing to tear apart loyalty, dignity, and even blood-forged brotherhood in pursuit of victory. To Tùng, Diep had become more than just the woman he loved. She was now the symbol of conquest, the key to making James fall. To execute this vendetta, he revived a ghost from James' past. John, the ruthless businessman who once painted the streets red in a violent turf war, and who nearly ended James' life, was pulled back into the shadows of the game. With a few calls, bribes, and one bitter promise of revenge, John walked free, ready to be the blade in Tùng hand. James was abroad on a business trip, unaware of the storm building back home. Tùng made his move under the guise of old friendship. He began visiting Diep, gently worming his way into her daily life. His words were carefully crafted, sweet yet heavy with subtle suggestion. James seems distant lately, doesn't he? Are you sure he still loves you like before? Though touched by Tùng concern, Diep remained faithful. Her heart belonged to James. But the seeds of doubt, so gently planted, began to stir. Then came the photo. James, sitting beside a female business partner, sent anonymously to Diep. It wasn't betrayal, but it was enough to cause her to falter. Just as Tùng hoped, what followed next was nothing short of cinematic. On a rainy, deserted street, with no cameras and no witnesses, Diep was walking home from work. A man appeared, snatching her bag, pushing her to the ground. Shaken and terrified, she dialed James, her voice trembling. But James was trapped in traffic, delayed by a staged roadblock, orchestrated by John's men. Just as panic peaked, Tùng appeared. He fought off the attacker in a perfectly choreographed rescue scene, even taking a minor blow before collapsing into Diep's arms. But it was all a lie. The attacker was one of Tung's henchmen. The blood on Tung's shirt? Red ointment. The bruises? Makeup. The concern in his eyes? Rehearsed in front of a mirror. But to Diep, who had just been pulled from chaos, it felt real. She was shaken, overwhelmed, and grateful. She brought him home. Tenderness replaced fear. She gently cleaned his wounds, served him porridge, prepared his medicine, fluffed his pillows. She didn't love him, but the emotions, gratitude, guilt, and the shame of having ignored a loyal friend, made her heart vulnerable. Tùng didn't need her love. He needed her debt, her care, her sympathy, and he got it all. Every time he winced, she rushed to him. Every time he whispered thanks, she smiled weakly, still shaken by what had happened. She told him to rest, her voice soft, filled with warmth. And inside, Tùng knew he was winning. But fate had its own plans. That afternoon, James returned. Seeing her missed calls, panic set in. He rushed to her home, only to freeze in the doorway. There she was. Diep, his Diep. Sitting beside another man, hands gently tending to Tùng. Her gaze, filled with care. Her smile, subtle and sad. Her soft touch, placed on another man's chest. And then, Tùng, eyes still closed, rested his head on her shoulder. A silent gesture. A final strike. For James, it was a dagger to the soul. No words. No outburst. Just a single step back into the night, his heart hollowed by what he believed he saw. Behind the door, Tùng noticed James had come and gone. His lips curled into a smile of quiet victory. He turned to Diep and whispered, "Take care," before leaving behind a storm she didn't even know had begun. Later that night, Diep sat in silence. Her calls to James unanswered. Her messages left unread. Confused, she clutched her phone and whispered, "Where are you, James? Why won't you answer me? I miss you." Tears traced her cheeks. Her chest tightened. But she still waited. Miles away, James sat alone, tormented by what he believed he had witnessed. The woman he loved, now in the arms of someone he once called brother. His world crumbled silently. So now the questions remain. Will Tùng succeed in reclaiming Diep's heart through deceit? Will James ever learn the truth behind the cruel performance staged to tear him apart? And Diep, caught between trust, guilt, and betrayal, who will she choose once the truth comes to light? The next chapter promises even more heart-stopping twists. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share your thoughts below.